Before you take data, ask this: would another trained person know exactly what to count, what to ignore, and when the behavior starts and stops? For C1 in the TCO, the goal is to define behavior so clearly that it can be analyzed and measured. Before behavior is analyzed, it needs to be described in a clear, objective, and concise way. That means we do not start with labels like disrespectful, lazy, or non compliant and assume everyone understands the same thing. Instead, we describe what the person actually does. A strong definition should help another trained person identify when the behavior happens and when it does not happen. That is what makes the definition operational. It gives staff enough information to record the behavior consistently and apply procedures accurately. Operational definitions are not just paperwork. They protect the quality of the data. Clear definitions help researchers and practitioners measure the same behavior in the same way across people, settings, and observations. In practice, behavior programs depend on accurate, ongoing evaluation of the target behavior. A strong definition makes the data more believable and useful for decision making. That matters for everyone involved, including the clients, parents, staff, supervisors, and administrators. So here is the practical takeaway: a weak definition creates weak data. A strong definition helps staff collect better data, make better decisions, and follow the plan more consistently. A good operational definition has three major qualities: it is objective, clear, and complete. Objective means the definition focuses on what can be observed, not what someone assumes or feels. Clear means another person can read it and understand exactly what to do. Complete means the definition explains what counts as behavior and what does not count. This is the heart of operational definitions. If the wording is subjective, different people may record different things. If it is unclear, staff may hesitate or guess. If it is incomplete, staff may count behavior that should not count or miss behavior that should count. For the exam, listen for the objective, clear, complete, and separating examples from non-examples. A label is not an operational definition. For example, good manners is too broad because it does not describe one specific action, but asks aloud to be excused from the table is observable, measurable, and countable. That is the difference. Labels often hide the real behavior. If someone says the learner is non-compliant, ask, what does the learner actually do? If someone says the learner is rude, ask, what does the learner say or do? Good assessment questions help turn vague descriptions into observable behavior. The goal is to move from opinion language to action language. Target behaviors can be defined by function or by topography. A function-based definition groups responses together because they have the same effect on the environment. In simple terms, the behaviors may look different, but they produce the same kind of outcome. For example, hand mouthing can include contact between the mouth and the fingers, hand, or wrist. Those responses may not look exactly the same, but they share the relevant effect. Function-based definitions are often preferred because they include all important forms of the response class and focus on the outcome of the behavior. They can also be simpler, shorter, and easier to measure reliably. A topography-based definition identifies behavior by its shape or form. In plain language, topography means what the behavior looks like. This type of definition can be useful when the outcome of the behavior is not easy to observe, not reliable, or not safe to use as the main part of the definition. For example, sometimes the result of a behavior does not happen every time, or the same result could happen for reasons unrelated to the learner's behavior. In those cases, describing the form may be practical, but be careful. Form alone is not always enough. Two behaviors can look similar, but serve different functions. A strong operational definition tells observers what counts and what does not count. That means examples and non-examples are important. Examples show staff what to record. Non-examples show staff what to ignore. This reduces guessing and improves consistency. For example, if the target is a positive teacher statement, the definition should clarify which statements count and which do not. A statement might not count if it is too vague, unrelated to student behavior, only marks an academic answer as correct, or cannot be heard clearly. That is why boundaries matter. The more clearly you define the edges of the behavior, the easier it is to collect accurate data. Here are three quick tests for your definition. First, can you count how many times the behavior happens or measure how long it lasts? The answer should be yes. Second, would a stranger know exactly what to look for after reading the definition? Again, the answer should be yes. Third, can the behavior still be broken down into smaller, more specific, more observable parts? For a strong definition, the answer should be no. That means the behavior is already specific enough. So remember this checklist: countable or timeable, clear to a stranger, and not too broad. Operational definitions connect directly to measurement. Behavior happens across time, so we need definitions that match the dimension we want to measure. If we are measuring count, we need to know each time the behavior occurs. If we are measuring rate, we need the number of responses per unit time. If we are measuring duration, we need a clear start and stop point. If we are measuring latency, we need to know when the instruction or stimulus happened and when the response began. If we are measuring IRT or inter-response time, we need the time between two responses. Topography and magnitude may also matter when the form or intensity of the behavior is important. Here's the final formula for C1. First, name the target behavior. Second, define what counts using objective, clear, and complete language. Third, define what does not count so observers can separate examples from non-examples. Fourth, decide whether the definition should focus on function or topography. Function-based definitions group responses by their common effect on the environment. Topography-based definitions identify behavior by its shape or form. Fifth, match the definition to the measurement dimension, such as count, rate, duration, latency, IRT, topography, or magnitude. Finally, test it. Can it be counted or timed? Would a stranger know what to look for? And is it already specific enough? A strong operational definition is objective, clear, and complete, and it separates what counts from what does not count. For C1, define behavior so observers can measure it consistently using the right dimensions such as count, rate, duration, latency, IRT, topography, or magnitude.